In 2008, the world's financial system stood on the edge of collapse. And at the center of it all was Lehman Brothers, once a titan of Wall Street, a bank with over 150 years of history, reduced to rubble in just one weekend. Their greed fueled the housing bubble, their arrogance ignored the warning signs, and when the dust settled, they left behind billions in losses, millions of broken lives, and a financial crisis that scarred a generation. This isn't just the story of one bank. It's the story of how money, when left unchecked, can bring the world to its knees. Welcome to Money Toxic. Money has the power to build empires and to destroy them overnight. On September 15, 2008, Lehman Brothers, once a titan of Wall Street older than the Civil War itself, 158 years, collapsed into bankruptcy. It was the largest bankruptcy in American history, and the spark that set the world economy on fire. This is the story of arrogance, greed, and a ticking time bomb no one wanted to defuse. This is the fall of Lehman Brothers. The story begins in 1844 in Montgomery, Alabama. Three immigrant brothers, Henry, Emmanuel, and Mayer Lehman, opened a small dry goods store. But their real fortune wouldn't come from selling clothes or farming tools. It would come from cotton. Cotton was the oil of the 19th century, fueling the Industrial Revolution. And the Lehman Brothers positioned themselves not as merchants, but as middlemen. They bought cotton from farmers, sold it to mills, and, most importantly, financed the entire trade. By 1858, the center of cotton trading had shifted to New York City, where factors and commission houses were based. Lehman opened its first branch office at 119 Liberty Street. By the early 1900s, Lehman Brothers was no longer a family shop. It was a Wall Street powerhouse. They financed railroads, helped General Motors grow, and even guided companies like Sears into the future. For decades, they thrived as the architects of American capitalism. But the DNA of Lehman was changing, from cautious merchant bankers to aggressive risk takers. In the 1980s, this transformation accelerated. Wall Street was becoming a casino, and Lehman was ready to gamble. In the 1980s, Lehman Brothers had significant growth, even merging with American Express in 1984. They were important in financing tech companies in the early stages of the information age. Even with smart business interests, Lehman dove headfirst into risky investments. They expanded into bonds, securities, and later mortgage-backed assets. Under CEO Richard Fuld, nicknamed the Gorilla of Wall Street, Lehman grew into a global titan worth over $600 billion. Fuld was ruthless. He demanded profits at any cost. His empire was built on one toxic idea: leverage. The bank borrowed billions to amplify its bets, turning modest gains into massive profits, but also creating a time bomb. And that bomb had a name: subprime mortgages. In the early 2000s, America was obsessed with housing. Home ownership was sold as the American dream. But Wall Street turned that dream into a product. Banks issued mortgages to anyone who could sign their name. People with no income, no jobs, no assets. Lehman Brothers packaged these toxic loans into complex securities, slapped them with high credit ratings, and sold them worldwide. For years, it worked. Profits soared, bonuses exploded, the executives got rich. But behind the numbers was rot, an empire built on lies, greed, and unsustainable debt. By 2007, the housing market cracked. Defaults skyrocketed. Suddenly, those safe mortgage-backed securities were worthless. Lehman Brothers was drowning in toxic debt. Billions evaporated. Their stock plummeted. Investors fled. Richard Fuld begged Washington for a bailout, but unlike Bear Stearns and AIG, Lehman was left to die. On September 15, 2008, Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcy, the largest in U.S. history. $639 billion in assets, $613 billion in debt, gone. The collapse sent shockwaves across the globe, triggering panic, bank runs, and the unraveling of the global financial system. Lehman's death wasn't just a Wall Street tragedy. It was a global disaster. Millions lost their homes. Millions lost their jobs. Pension funds evaporated. Governments were forced to rescue banks with taxpayer money. For Lehman Brothers, the government let them die. And the men responsible? They walked away rich. Richard Fuld made hundreds of millions during his reign. He testified before Congress, blaming everyone but himself. For ordinary people, the cost was devastating. For the bankers, it was just another chapter in the toxic history of money. Lehman Brothers was more than a bank. It was a warning. A warning that when greed runs unchecked, the entire system can collapse under its own weight. The company may be gone, its name just another tombstone on Wall Street, but the toxic practices that killed it, they live on. Banks still gamble. Executives still chase bonuses. Politicians still look the other way. Lehman was not the end of the story, only a fucking chapter. And if history teaches us anything, it's this. In the world of money, collapse isn't an accident. It's fucking inevitable. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.